Hi, this is Dana, and on this channel I speak about spiritual warfare. In this video, God has guided me specifically to talk about essentially how you learn to work with your gifts. This is a period of training that you go through in order to learn abilities to work with your gifts. I emphasize from the beginning something that I keep saying, namely that all the information out there is fake knowledge. You must acknowledge the fact that we are in 3D. 3D is created and controlled by the matrix. So all the information out there available, which is usually systematically put out, is fake. Or at least is mixed information, some fake, some authentic, in order to sort of draw your attention, catch your attention, and to seem authentic. But in fact, the purpose is to misguide you, to divert you, to push you into wrong practices. And I will say from the beginning something which I mentioned in my prophetic writings. When I started the conscious spiritual fighting, I was pretty much upset with God. And I said, why you didn't tell me this? There are so many classes everywhere I have seen, and so many people have invited me to join them in all sorts of classes of NLP and any other, so many others that I heard of. And every time when I asked guidance, you said no. I wanted to buy books to read, but on my own. Still, you said no. And God has shown me that he said exactly like this: if you would have gone to attend those classes, or you would have bought those books, they would have destroyed you by now. So I preferred for you to stay your path, practicing spirituality to the extent to which you felt drawn to, and I prefer that even if you start the fighting without having the proper knowledge how to fight, it's best to not have any knowledge than to have the wrong knowledge on how to fight, because any of the wrong, first of all, as you join these groups of practices, first of all, they have some sort of secret foundation of those societies. They are all related to specific type of societies, be it Masonry, be it secret cults, be it whatever. And you are not aware of this. Maybe some of them will share with you, but most of them will not tell you all the details. So you give a blank check over your life, and all of a sudden they start attaching all sorts of darkness and dark entities to you, without even asking, without even telling. And if in the beginning you do not have the proper knowledge on how to deal with that, then it essentially blocks your path. So God said, I preferred for you not to have any kind of knowledge about spiritual fighting than to have the wrong knowledge, because by now they would have clearly destroyed you. So he didn't even let me read books, because I'm a very analytical person, so usually I like to do a lot of research before I do something, or I write something, or I make up my mind on a topic or something. But this was the first time in my life when actually I couldn't read anything about it, because God has said so. This is not good for you. I don't want you to do this, because, for example, I explained in another video, most books written on this topic, usually they have also all sorts of strings or hovering spirits or stuff like this, or watcher spirits, monitoring spirits. So you think you bought a book and you keep it in your house in order to learn something. You might learn some, but the kind of damage that it does to you is much more powerful than whatever you gain from that book. So because of this, God didn't let me read. And also because it creates blockages in your mind, because you make references, mental references to something, knowledge which you already assimilated. So I want you to learn directly from the source, authentic information, because uh, that kind of information, like learning with God and with your ancestors, it's at the same time a healing process, because you come in contact with divine energy while you learn this. So that also helps you heal and helps you understand better the purpose and so on. So basically, this is just from the beginning, just to clarify the idea of knowledge in spiritual fighting. This is very important to know. Most of the individuals who do this kind of spirituality, which is advertised on TV and in different on different ways, or that individuals that work with political leaders or with political parties or with governmental institutions or so on, they usually, even to have the license to practice, they must make a partnership with them. So they essentially give rights over you. You're just going there to study something and to learn something, and they are giving rights over you to whoever they signed up with. And the only time when actually God allowed me to go learn something, actually Jesus guided me to learn something, was in 2018, when I went for like a month or a month and a half, something like this, to some Reiki classes. But he took me there in order to meet the individual who was organizing this, who was the so-called master or whatever, teacher or whatever he's calling himself, because he was the one who actually created the surprise attack on me. So actually Jesus took me there to break the bondage with him. But because he couldn't say all of this to me, and I never met that man, I didn't speak to that man ever in my life, Jesus said, just go there and ask for an appointment. He didn't tell me what. And that individual pushed me to go to classes. I only asked Jesus if he guides me to accept to go to classes. So I did, but only for a month and a half, because in this period of time I already figured out what Jesus wanted from me and why I was there. And later on, the following month or something like this, he also, Jesus guided me to also take some pranic classes, pranic healing classes, which essentially meant only 2 or 3 times attending those meetings. But each of these individuals have done harm on me. The one who was teaching pranic healing then contacted me, and she tried to convince me to become translator for the Pope who was coming here in my mind and in my belief, for very occult practices and very occult goals. But there was a point, because at that point I had huge amount of attacks directed at me, and I didn't know much about any of these. So I actually needed I needed to learn the basics of it very fast, so I can actually survive. Basically, it was a matter of survival at that point. It was really bad. But I didn't go for long. This is what I say. And even the little time that I spent there only confirmed what God has told me, And at that time, I actually asked Jesus what to do, because I was very panicked because of the attacks. And it was the first time in my life when I couldn't control the energy in my space. And I couldn't understand how come somebody can actually attack me, and I don't know how to block it. Because of this, Jesus guided me. I think in my mind, I think it was mostly in order to give me the self-confidence back again. Not so much for the knowledge that I gained there, but mostly to gain self-confidence and to find that individual who actually created those attacks on me. This is what I believe afterwards, But my real training actually started afterwards, when I did gain my self-confidence, and I stayed home, and God has come to teach me. I only had some experience before with Jesus, who a year prior to this was teaching me, and we exercised soul healing by invocation. And I did exercise in a couple of cases, and indeed it was efficient. It was very special type of healing. So it's based on the gift of prayer. So I had only this experience, but then I had a little bit more experience with God. And for a reason or another, I don't know why God wants me to talk about this right now. I think there are individuals who need to do this, or maybe there are individuals who don't know how to do this. And namely, what God has guided me to say is, first of all, that you need to request this, that you receive the training from the divine realm. You can write it for the karmic board meeting in your astral letter. And this is so because, especially, this is valid, especially for those who are going under judgment, because everybody in 3D is claimed by darkness. You must understand this. Each and every single individual is claimed by darkness, either by legitimate reasons because you have done something wrong and you worked with darkness, or because some other people created a bondage against you, a fake information about you, and they did so only to send darkness to you. But either way, everybody is claimed by darkness. That's why we are in 3D at such a density of darkness, and this is why most people cannot see God and Jesus and the divine realm, who's actually here. But it's just a difference in vibration and in energy density. That's all. So because of this, some people, especially those who go through judgment, and that means that they have done something really wrong already, so they decided to work with darkness. Well, when you already worked with darkness consciously, even more so, you must ask to receive from divine realm help and training. Because, let me explain this very easily. It is like you signed up to serve the devil, right? So if you signed up by your own will, knowingly or unknowingly, we're not judging here, we're not talking about this. My topic now is about explaining to people that they need to request this. So it is considered in astral realm that you have signed up to work for the devil. Now, in order to receive help, you are claimed by the devil if you did so. Nobody asks you if you are aware, if you knew what you're doing. Nobody asks you about this stuff. And we're not talking now about that, because then I think we split in many camps in this situation. But the main point being, while you did this, or somebody did this to you, you need to actually reiterate as many times as possible in written and to authorities in astral, and the karmic board is an authority in astral, that you do not intend and want with your free will to serve the devil, but you ask the help and guidance and training from the divine realm. You want to work with them, because this gives legitimacy to your ancestors to come and help you. You must understand that there are consequences when you people do this harm onto others. I said in one of my prophetic writings, when one individual was, God has asked me to help one individual, and I was trying to help, but he was just going head on into the darkness. What was I going to do? But as I was trying to help, every time when he chose the darkness, I could see his angels crying with tears of blood. Tears of blood, literally. And I asked God, why is this so? Why are they crying with blood? And God has said to me at the time, because essentially it's like it's like you separate the angel from the individual to which the angel was assigned. It's essentially what he was doing. It was like he was selling himself to the devil. So it was like he was also selling his divine team to the devil. It was very difficult actually experience when I saw that. It bothered me a lot. So there are consequences, not only on the people that these occult practices are doing harm upon, but there are consequences even in astral. And many times I said in my videos, there are situations in which God cannot help you, meaning he's not allowed to come directly to you to help you as he would if you wouldn't do stupid stuff. Yeah, God will always try to help individuals, but it will be a different kind of help. It wouldn't be a direct help. And God never negotiates with Satan. You must know this. God doesn't negotiate with darkness. This is something that it's not even a topic of discussion with God. And if you make a mistake, or if you enter into a surprise attack, God will never negotiate with the darkness. God will help you, but he will not come to plead for you. So you must figure out the way to get out of that, and you must ask help, and you will receive even during attacks. For example, when I was under a surprise attack in 2019, basically I said, because it was said, why the surprise attack was launched, and it was a fake accusation. It was like she spoke with the darkness. It was not true. It was not true. And I said this is not true. And God reminded me, I don't negotiate with darkness. I don't negotiate with Satan. So now carry on your fight and get out of there. So God, and he didn't come. He didn't come, but Jesus did come. Jesus did come when I asked him to come. So there will be ways in which you will receive help from the divine realm. But you must understand that by the things you do, or by the things that are done upon you, the way in which the divine realm interacts with you, it is at time blocked. And this is, I guess, their first objective, to block the divine realm of helping you. Now, when you do yourself stupid stuff, and you give them opportunities to block your help coming from the divine realm, then you must be aware that you must ask help. You must ask specifically, even that you write it, or that you just speak it out and say it. But you must ask help. And then God will come and help you. I have given some examples. I don't know, God wants me to give new examples to show probably how it works. And he pointed out to me a few examples that he wants me to give. I think I wrote in a prophetic writing, I guess, about the light body meditation. So I wrote the light body meditation, but that is the result of many years of work for me, because first time when God was trying to teach me this was in 2018, early 2018, and I actually came about into this light body meditation. I actually learned fully how to do this during my spiritual journey. So 2019, 2020, when I was on my spiritual journey. This is when I actually did it perfectly. But it was a process in which I learned this. So the first time when I had to learn this, it was very early in 2018. I think it was January. And basically, I was being spiritually attacked. And God said, I took my sword of light, because this is how I used to fight at the time. And God said, this is a different type of fight. You don't need a sword for this. Hide. Don't interact with them, because they get more light, more energy from you. So don't use the sword for this type of attack. Hide. And he didn't understand, what does it mean, hide? He was referring to withdrawing your light body. Exactly the meditation which I posted a few months ago. And it didn't work. I didn't get it. I was like, I turned to Jesus. I says, what does he mean by this? I don't understand how to hide. What does he want me to do? And I was trying to hide. He tried to teach me a little bit. I didn't get it right. It was very painful physically for me because I was doing it very wrong. And then one day, God said, come, let's go. And he gave me a place where to go. He told me where to go. And I went there. Basically, it was winter. It was January, so it was very, very cold. And he kept me there. It was an open field, but in the city. And there was in the city, so there were cars. But it was an intersection and a market area in that place. So, and he made me. I was there for I think 6 hours. And he told me, now walk this way, walk your left, go your right, go straight ahead, observe. And he was teaching me how to observe energy, what is happening. If I go in one direction, if I go in another direction, if I enter into a building, if I stay into my car, if I walk on the street, so he was asking me, what do you observe now? What do you see now? What do you feel now? And I would basically tell him, and he would say, sit down. Now sit down and observe. And I would stay. It will take long, of course. Then he would say, now stand up and walk. Now, and he kept making me for 6 hours in freezing cold, I'm telling you. For 6 hours in freezing cold. He kept training me like this. Go this way, do this, do that, do that. And all the time he was asking me, what do you feel? What do you observe? What do you... and then after 6 hours, you can imagine 6 hours in freezing cold outdoors. I was very, very cold. So I basically, contracted my body because I was cold. I was just simply very cold. I contracted my body like this because I was very cold. And essentially, without intention, I did the withdrawal of the light body, because I was already numb from freezing cold, and I was just trying to find some sort of way to just find some warmth, and that's when God said, this is, observe now. What do you observe now in energy terms? Stay like this and observe now. And of course, I observed at that point in time that all the astral noise basically became louder because I was not putting out my energy, right? And I could hear discussion between different spirits and between different entities and so on. So I could hear them. I could already hear them and see them much clearly, and I was also holding my breath, it wasn't something natural because I didn't really do it intentionally and nobody actually explained exactly how to do it. Then God said, this is what you needed to learn. Now you can go home. But it took 6 hours for me to stay in freezing cold, and he didn't explain to me why I'm going there. He only told me, just get in the car, go over there and do this and that and that. And essentially, I think what God wants you to understand is that many of the things that you need to learn will come to you from divine realm in ways which you do not expect, not in a normal type of teachings, like you would go to class and so on. So you must be open and you must request training and wisdom from divine realm, and you must be open to actually follow when you receive. Because if you expect to receive everything explained to you like you would be in some sort of class, this is not how it's happening. It's not, nothing from my knowledge happened like this. And I repeat, this happened in January 2019. It took me 2 years to actually master this and understand this. You must, and I did try meanwhile to do this, and sometimes, but very, very seldom, I would do it properly, and I could feel the difference that basically the darkness cannot touch you, or at least it doesn't have an impact on you. It was the same when I did the silent meditation to reprogram your mind. That was in 2019. And for that, I actually worked mostly with Vishnu and with Buddha. It was similar thing, and also they explained to me exactly like I explained it in my video and in my prophetic writings. They explained to me step by step what you have to do, but it took time in order to do it properly, right? So it takes exercise, and it takes more this type of lessons from the divine realm, right? I already explained in another video about when I went to a restaurant, when God asked me to go to a restaurant to teach me about the potions they put in food and in drinks. The type of hypnosis which is being induced by these potions, by this which they use in all food industry, because all of them have the same thing, like the bioenergeticians and those who teach spirituality. In order to get a license to practice and to have actually clients, they sign up with a matrix, so they work for them. Then energy diagnosis. And also energy diagnosis, but also transmuting darkness from others. These are I learned from God himself, and this is when I decided to stay home, right? After the first surprise attack, as I was very scared, I refused to go home anymore until I understand how to deal with this. And at some point, after I gained again my self-confidence, I returned, and God came, and He taught me to do energy diagnosis properly, But in order to do this as well, He would ask me, to stay put until an attack will come, and then so basically most of the teachings happen. In terms of spiritual fighting, of course, during attacks. So it's not like God comes and He tells you a story about how it will happen. No, when you get attacked, God will come and will say, now, because I was getting an attack, and I was, reacting very angry, and God would say, just calm down. And He would show me, He would show me, look at your body now, look, follow the energy that was sent to you, follow the energy, look at it, where it entered your body, and much of it is not so much words, but it's mostly interaction between God and yourself. So He will show you to follow your body like a map, and try to identify, where the energy goes, what reaction triggers into your body in each point where it touches, and so on. And of course, I did much research afterwards, because I didn't know so much biology and anatomy, to be honest. So initially, I had to read a lot, especially for energy diagnosis, to understand what kind of triggers are connected to what kind of parts of the body, what kind of internal organs, and so on. But the energy, the diagnosis itself, I learned it from God, and then I would, in order to prescribe how to defend or heal that, I studied a little bit more. And the same was for the transmuting darkness from others. For example, God will tell me. So you learn. I learned how to do transmutation through the mystic prayer, because I practiced this all my life, right? And God said, try to do mystic prayer to transmute darkness from others. One day, I was on spiritual journey at the time, and God has said to me, this is the fundamental for manifestation. This is how you manifest. But it took me a long time actually to successfully do it. And many times, for example, God would, his teachings come in very different way. For example, for this one, for transmutation of darkness from others, because I was supposed to do mystic prayer and push out darkness, which was attacking me, but from a different body, from another individual, right? So it's sort of like an exorcism that you do. It's a darkness which is attacking you from others, so then you push it out. But in order to push that out, sometimes it was very difficult because that darkness already, by the time you notice it because it attacks you. So it already created a string on you. So it's very difficult to also cut the string, heal yourself, and push it out from the other individual. So for example, God will sometimes help me, like he will touch with his hand the back of my heart chakra, because that was where the string was created, right? Because this, essentially, God would heal the string created on me, so I can exercise only the pushing part, the second part of it, pushing out that darkness from me and from the other. So training comes in very different ways. It depends on circumstances, but God will choose the time when you have to learn something. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be on your level of understanding. You can always work with your ancestors and your divine team in order to ask more. With your angels from God, you can always ask them to explain something on your level of understanding. I always say this. Please explain this to me on my level of understanding, because I don't know what he's talking about. So you will receive help from someone, but it doesn't always come in the way you imagine it. And first of all, and second of all, you must follow. You must follow, because and this is a predicament, especially for the warriors, because especially for men, because they have this prideful ego, and it seems silly to them. Why if God comes, actually God showed me this, because I asked him. I said, why don't these men know how to do this? And God has shown me, because I tell them, like I'm telling you, stand up, move, go there, do this, and they don't. And then they don't learn. I cannot help them. And I guess this is why he wants me to make this video, to let you know, because I did believe that, and I still believe that one of my greatest advantages in spiritual fighting has been the fact that I didn't go to these classes and these teachings and these all sorts of societies and all of this. So therefore, I didn't have fake knowledge about it. So I actually followed and trusted God. I didn't second guess. And also, the downside of it is because I was under huge attack, and basically I had no choice but to follow God. That was my only salvation that I had. So sometimes I would even say it seems so stupid to me. I don't know what you want me to understand from this, but to my level of understanding, it seems stupid. But then, of course, later on, you get to understand it. It is a process. God doesn't always take the time to explain in depth and to argue with you or to insist to explain to you. He only tells me once. So if I don't listen, or if I don't want to, because, for example, he says sometimes to do some things, and I say, I don't want to do this because it's stupid and I don't want to, or because it's just not normal that I have to do this. And then he leaves me alone. But then when he leaves me alone, of course, the attack intensifies. So then I have no choice but to go back and say, okay, I'll do it now if you think that this is the only way, So that's the point. And if God wants you to do something, you must know this. If God wants you to learn something or to do something, he will let you get punished and get attacked until you understand to do it, as he says it. And nobody from your divine team will stop him if he wants you to go one certain way. This I will have to say. Jesus comes to me most often, and he gives me more explanations, more help, and so on. But there are circumstances in which God says, you do this, and I don't want to. And then I go to Jesus. And then Jesus sometimes can help, but sometimes he cannot. He cannot overstep if God wants you to do something.